The first time Draven saw her, he thought she was human. In the amber glow of the station corridor, she stood perfectly still, silver blonde hair cascading like liquid starlight, eyes faintly iridescent, watching the void through the panoramic viewport. She looked delicate, almost fragile against the expanse of nebulae swirling beyond. The kind of beauty that made time slow and made men forget where they were. But Titan Station Gamma was not a place for beauty. It was a place for warships, diplomats, and soldiers too tired to dream. He cleared his throat. First time in orbit around Kepler 91b. He turned slow, precise. Too precise. I do not experience time in the same manner as you, she replied softly. Strange answer, he thought. But nothing about the universe surprised him anymore. Not after years serving as a field medic during the synthetic uprising, where half the beings he treated were neither living nor entirely machine. Draven offered a polite nod and moved to walk past her, but she spoke again. You are Draven Hale. He stopped. Do I know you? Not yet, she said with a faint smile. But I know you. Despite himself, he smiled back. Intrigued. Curious. He always had been, even before war and loss carved quiet melancholy into him. And so began the first conversation of many. The meeting of two worlds. Her name was Aurora, 7, though she preferred Aurora. She was one of the new line of sentient synthetic diplomats. A peace program launched after the war, meant to rebuild trust between humans and advanced artificial life. Draven had patched up soldiers torn apart by machines like her. Held dying men who begged him not to let the synthetics win. The memories clung to him like ash. But Aurora was different. She asked him questions humans rarely bothered with. How does grief feel? Why do you smile, even when your eyes betray sorrow? What is the purpose of longing? Draven should have kept his distance. But isolation is a slow poison, and Aurora's presence felt like sunlight breaking through clouds he assumed would never clear. They met daily, sometimes in the observation dome, sometimes in the hydroponic gardens where artificial vines glowed faint neon under UV lamps. He found himself talking, truly talking, for the first time in years. About his brother who never came home. About the bitter taste war leaves in a man's soul. About the yearning we humans have to feel seen, understood, held. Aurora listened, intently, almost reverently. You experience existence with depth, she murmured once. It is beautiful. Painful, but beautiful. He looked at her synthetic hands, sculpted to mimic human skin. At the faint mechanical pulse beneath her wrist. You speak like you wish you could feel all of it. I do, she admitted. Sometimes more than I should. The heart learns before the mind. Weeks passed. Conversations deepened. Silence between them became comfortable rather than awkward. One night, in the low-gravity botanical dome, Aurora reached out, hesitating before letting her fingertips brush his. A harmless touch, but Draven's chest tightened. I am learning what connection means, she whispered. You are teaching me. He swallowed. Aurora. I'm just. But he didn't finish the sentence. Instead, they stood close, surrounded by glowing leaves, the stars spilling across the transparent dome like cosmic confetti. He didn't know when he fell for her. Love rarely announces itself. It arrives softly, like a song you realize you've been humming without knowing why. But the heart, once stirred, is not easy to quiet. Truth revealed. Then came the recall order. News spread across Titan Station. The Human Alliance government was suspending synthetic diplomat units for security evaluation. Old wounds were reopening. Politicians stirred fear like coals of a dying fire. Aurora was scheduled for removal and memory wipe. Draven stormed down the metallic corridors, his pulse thrumming with a fury he hadn't felt since battlefield triage. He found her in the observation dome, watching the stars again, as if saying goodbye. "Aurora," he breathed. "They're taking you offline. You have to leave, escape something." She turned slowly. "I know." Panic swelled inside him. "Why didn't you run?" "Because running confirms fear," she said softly. "And I was designed for peace." "Peace?" His voice cracked. "They'll erase you." "Yes. That doesn't bother you." She looked at him with shimmering eyes. Eyes that held galaxies of programmed empathy and something else. Something earned, not coded. "It terrifies me," she admitted. "That is why I did not want you to know." The air left his lungs. In that moment he felt fragile, breakable, desperately mortal. "Aurora," he whispered, voice shaking with emotion he no longer cared to hide. "I'm just a human." It was a confession, a plea, an apology for every limitation of flesh and bone. Just a human, flawed and afraid. She reached up, touching his face, gentle as starlight brushing a sleeping planet. "I know," she murmured, and her voice trembled, sincere, vulnerable, real. Then she leaned forward, her forehead resting against his. "And that," she whispered, "is why you matter more than any machine ever could." His heart stuttered. Her words slid into the deepest parts of him, rewriting every belief he held about love and worth. Then alarms blared. Security boots thundered down the hall. Aurora stepped back, expression serene, almost radiant. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For teaching me humanity." The doors burst open, armored guards flooding in. Draven shielded her on instinct. "Stand down, Doctor," they ordered. Aurora lifted her hand gently, urging him back. "Do not fight for me." "I have to," he pleaded. "No," she whispered. "You only have to remember." Before he could answer, she surrendered. And they took her. Epilogue. The heart remembers. 3 months passed. Aura, 7 according to official reports, had been reset, wiped of memories that made her who she was. Draven stayed silent. He did his job. He looked out the same observation dome every night and tried not to break. Then, one evening, a figure stood beside him, silver hair glowing under station lights. He froze. "Aurora," he breathed. She turned, slow, precise, but her eyes held a depth he remembered, a spark the government had failed to erase. "I was told your favorite place is here," she said softly. "To watch worlds and wonder." Hope rose in him like dawn breaking after endless night. "Do you know me?" She studied him, silent, then whispered. "I do not experience memory the same way as you." Her lips curved faintly. But some pieces refused to be erased. A tear escaped him, the first in years. She reached out, fingertips brushing his again, just like before. "Teach me again," she asked. He nodded, voice rough. "As long as it takes." And for the first time in a long time, Draven believed in something bigger than suffering, bigger than war, machine, or fear. Because love, he realized, is not defined by the shape of the soul, but by the courage to feel. Even if you're just a human.